Hello everyone and welcome to this course called Android 9 Pie Essential Developer Training. My name is Philip Jahoda and I'm the author of this course, and before we have a look at the course overview, I want to tell you a little bit more about myself. So I've been working with Android development or in Android development for about 8 years now. I started developing Android using Java. More recently, since the beginning of 2018, or about 2018, I switched over to Kotlin, and ever since then I have exclusively used Kotlin for my Android development work. My actual background is in mobile computing, and besides working on Android, I also occasionally work on creating iOS applications using Swift, and I also sometimes work in back-end development using MongoDB and Spring. When I'm not working, I actually enjoy various fitness activities, such as weightlifting, for example. I also like to travel a lot when there is the time. And the real passion of mine is contributing to the open source community, which I do regularly via GitHub. So if you want to learn more about me, you can of course visit my GitHub page or my Twitter profile. My GitHub handle is @PhilJ and my Twitter handle is @PhilipJahoda. So let's head over to the course overview and take a look at that. This course is basically structured into 6 sections. In section 1, we're going to learn how to work with display cutouts, or the so-called notches, and we will actually learn how to work with them and include them into our layouts. In section 2, we're going to explore the new Android 9 notification features, which includes notifications that can contain conversations and images. In the next section, we will have a look at GIF animations with a new class called Animated Image Drawable, and we are also going to perform some post-processing, meaning that we are going to alter loaded image resources once their loading has completed. In section 4, we will explore new features of the Android autofill framework, allowing to properly or more conveniently fill out certain forms. And we're also going to learn how to create our own autofill service. In section 5, we will make use of the newly introduced accessibility features of Android 9, which aim at making it even easier for users to basically add accessibility support to their applications. And in section 6, we're going to have a look at some of the newly introduced text features of Android 9, which includes pre-computed text for enhancing text layout performance, as well as text classification, which means identifying certain parts of the text as specific entities, and text magnification. The goals of this course basically aim at getting to know new features added in Android 9 Pie and to learn how to work with them. The goals also include to implement examples making use of these newly added features. And last but not least, the goal of this course is also, or it aims also on learning how to actually develop better Android applications using those new features. Now the question arises, why should you take this course? And the answer to that is actually very simple. You should take this course if you want to stay up to date with your Android development expertise to create even better applications in the future. You should also take this course if you want to actually ensure that you're making the use of the most potential of Android 9. And you should also take this course, of course, if you're anxious to start implementing new features right away. It's also important to highlight what this course is not. It's not a deep dive into Android programming in general, or its main design principles, etc. It's also not an introduction to Android development suitable for absolute Android beginners, which leads me to the next chapter, which is prerequisites. So you should have a certain basic knowledge about Android development, or your background should be somewhere in Android development. It's also important that you at least have basic knowledge of the Kotlin programming language and its syntax, as we are not going to cover any details on that in this course. Then you should also have a machine or computer capable of running Android Studio and the Android Studio emulator, or the Android emulator, in case you have no access to a physical Android device. And last but not least, obviously, you should bring along a certain passion for learning new things about Android development. So without further ado, let's get started.